I'm back here, miningclips.com, and I've got a special guest, Mickey Fulp, the mercenary geologist. You can follow Mickey's work at mercenarygeologist.com and his Twitter handle at mercenarygeo. Mickey, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Rob. A bit of chill in the air this morning. I think fall is here in the Rocky Mountains.
Hey, I wanted to get you on here, and we don't get to talk enough thoroughly during our weekly show, but I want to talk a little geopolitics here with the mercenary geologist. What's front and center on your radar?
Well, I think, first of all, it has to be North Korea and the war of words between Rocket Man and the dotard, if you will. And, it concerns me because I don't see a resolution to this shy of war. I don't think either side is going to back down. The North Koreans may end up getting what they wish for, but that would, in my opinion, lead to significant turmoil in that part of the world, and it certainly wouldn't be good for the South Koreans.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's important to point out too that this has really been a ceasefire. The war truly never ended when we left Korea. So at what point does the posturing become real, and at what point does China and Russia intervene here?
Well, I think the real problem is China and Russia because they continue to support this regime in the background, and especially China, and that's North Korea. But what you said is exactly true. We're now 64 years into the supposed end of this conflict, and there was never a resolution. I don't have an answer for it, Rob. It's concerning to me. Very seldom have I been this concerned about a geopolitically unresolvable part of the world other than the Middle East, and we're just in forever war there.
And kind of a follow-up here, but kind of moving the argument towards gold. With this type of geopolitical risk in the air, why isn't gold moving higher?
And why is the U.S. stock market continuing to move higher? The market has become numb to this, and quite quickly over the last couple of months, because when this first started, or when it first kind of escalated a bit, was coincided with the rise of gold, and that would have been about July 10th. If you look at a chart of gold from July 10th to September 7th, which is basically a 60-day period, it was straight up. Hit a high at 1349, and from September 8th until today, it's gone straight down, low of 1286. Now, right now, it's at, I'm watching it beginning at 11 o'clock. Well, let me back up and say this morning it opened at 1292 in New York. And so this really short-term parabolic move in gold, which is about 70 days up then down, occurred despite a weak U.S. dollar. So really what's happened over the last 3 weeks, let's say, the markets have become numb to this story of North Korea. That said, from its open this morning at 1292, it is sitting right now at 1303. So gold has jumped $11 in the last 20 minutes. And I really have no exact explanation for that right now. I do know that the net longs in the futures and options markets trimmed considerably this last week, toward the end of last week. So there are still net longs, but those bullish positions have really come off. I notice now, gold is jumping as we speak. It's now at 1304.50. The only thing I can figure out right now, the things that have happened in the last, say, 20 minutes, is Trump came out with a new travel ban list that includes North Korea. Well, that's his official travel ban list, but State Department put those controls in, I think, about a month ago. But he added Venezuela to the travel ban list. And so that's immigrants coming in, and I guess I confused that with the previous um, State Department ban on Americans going North Korea.
Yeah, and I think the Venezuela ban is mostly for that government brass. They don't want to give them safe harbor. And I noticed that Linda Sarsour is out there still calling North Korea and Venezuela a Muslim ban. So there you go for the left.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Let's jump topics to the home front here, and something like the corn in the back of our mouth here. Let's talk Obamacare. What is going to be done about Obamacare? Is this dead, or where are we at?
Well, it appears nothing's going to be done. And after seeing what they've tried to do with these various bills, starting with Ryan's House bill and then it moved into a Senate bill, I applaud the Republicans who have stood their ground, and actually people have stood their ground on both sides of this issue. McCain and Rand Paul have gotten in bed together on this one, opposing Obamacare for different reasons. But I think the Republicans, they can't agree on a bill, and the things that they are quibbling about affect both sides, both the moderate Republican side and a more conservative or libertarian side. So let's just let this thing die on the vine. I'm comfortable with that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's causing a lot of damage here. I certainly understand where they're going to try to repeal this, but I'm with you. I just don't see any resolution. What do you make about this tax cut? You think this is viable? You think this can get done?
Well, I haven't looked that much at tax bill, but it's certainly going to be pro-business and lowering taxes. I'm encouraged by the fact that Obamacare repeal has failed, because now I think the Republicans' future is on the line for elections in a little more than 13 months. Geez, didn't we just have an election, Rob? but the Republicans' butts are on the line, if you will, right now. They've got to pass the tax bill because they swept through Congress in the 2016 elections based on the fact they were, number one, going to appeal or repeal Obamacare, and number two, they were going to pass tax reform, massive tax reform bill. So from that point of view, they got to get it done, and we'll see what the future holds. But we certainly need tax reform in this country.
Agree wholeheartedly. And before we let this go here, I'd be remiss if I, speaking of this country, to talk about these misguided NFL players. What's your take on this taking a knee for the national anthem?
More power to them. They can do whatever they wanted. As far as I know, the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, is still in effect. To me, it's non-news. They have every right to do what they want to do. I can stand up or sit down, however I so choose. That's America. The real problem is, starting with Trump, and I really put this at the foot of Trump, is he's come out and said this is unpatriotic and they ought to be fired. Well, football. This is football. I mean, what's that got to do with geopolitics or political statements or the state of discrimination of police forces against blacks or whatever issue you want to bring up? It's got nothing to do with football. Sports is escapism, and in my opinion, we should leave it alone. These guys can do whatever they want. As far as I know, we still live in a free country. I don't necessarily support what they're doing, but they have every right to do whatever they so choose to do. in my opinion.
Well, we can agree to disagree, perhaps, but in their own regulations, the NFL basically says that you will stand for the national anthem. You will put your helmet in your in your gut, and you will salute the flag. But yet they don't even honor their own rules. So I think the NFL has proven itself to be a political weapon, unfortunately, and I think it's used that way. You hit the nail on the head, though. This should be football. That's all it should be ever about. But why the NFL, a tax-exempt organization, needs to take this stance and not even abide by their own rules when they let thugs and all that play in this game really is disrespectful to America. I agree with you. It's First Amendment. They have the right to do it. But they ought to really know what they're protesting. And I haven't heard one argument.
Well, Rob, I would say the NFL is misguided with its policy that it regulates the behavior of people other than between the lines when the game is being played, in my opinion.
Yeah, once the game starts, it's absolutely a great game. There's no doubt about it. It's too bad that we have to read into this. But at the end of the day, there's only one way to deal with it. If you don't like it, you don't go, you don't watch, and then they just let the dust settle where it is. So either way, it's a non-news story, in my opinion.
Absolutely, that's it. You've hit the nail on the head, Rob. It is a non-news story, and I swear if you pick up any sports page in a major East Coast or probably left coast newspaper today, major cities, the headlines are going to be about who stood and who sat and who didn't appear, what teams didn't come out for the national anthem, etc. And it should be about the game. Those headlines should, because there were some really good games in the NFL yesterday. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, those poor Lions fans. Boy, I gotta tell you, I don't know how they take it up there, but well, let's leave it there. That was the Mercenary Geologist, Mickey Fulp, again, mercenarygeologist.com and at mercenarygeo on Twitter. Mickey, always appreciate the time, my friend.
Thanks a lot, Rob.